Welcome back, Turfs Up Radio. Coming to you live from the Advanced Turf Solutions Education Seminar here in Louisville, Kentucky. Woodhaven Country Club. What a nice facility this is. And been a great morning so far. A lot of very informative speakers, Daniel.
Yeah, a lot of good information I know that I've taken away, and even just with my limited understanding and knowledge, it's been a lot of things to consider. I think that's the biggest takeaway. You don't necessarily have to implement everything or do all the things or try all the products or whatever, but it's just good to know these little, pieces of advice or tidbits, or, hey, this is what the new research is showing, how to take care of different things better.
Yeah.
It's all those little things that add up to making you a little bit more, competitive.
Katie's going to find us some lawn care guys, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you. But no, you're right about the tidbits. Katie's going to find us some lawn care people to sit down here. We've got Jake coming on with us, and maybe we'll find a lady or two to come in. How many tidbits do you think you put in the brain today? I did one. Few. I did one from a speaker just right there, and a couple others.
Yeah.
I've had probably 3 or 4 things that I've thought about today already.
It's funny because, one of the first, maybe the first or second, was talking about mosquitoes. And he said, hey, raise your hand if you're doing mosquito or whatever.
Yeah.
And he said, that everyone should have raised their hand for that or something like that. And it was like, it's too easy not to do. You're already there. You're already this. You're already that. So I think it's just, whether it's mosquitoes or whatever, just understanding, hey, just because you're not doing it now doesn't mean it's this super hard, complex thing to get into, or not at least worth checking out and learning more about.
Well, talking about the mosquitoes, he asked who did it, and a few guys raised their hands. And then we also had, and then he asked who wants to make more money doing it or something. And the same guys did not raise their hand.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was pretty funny. So, but no, they've had some really, really good speakers here today so far, and I'm looking forward to what's coming up this afternoon for sure too, because there's going to be more and more of it. I know that. We got what do we have this afternoon? We got I don't know, 2 or 3 more speakers.
I think 4 more.
4 more?
Yeah, I think we have 4 more. 3 or 4.
So they've loaded the docket for sure today. So
yeah, it's nonstop action, if you will. So
I'll say that. Yeah, absolutely.
And I know we've done, you've done a good job specifically with getting those speakers here on Turfs Up Radio. And if you've missed any of those live, they're already up on the podcast form, so you can go and check them out. Go and, just a little recap of what they talked about.
Yeah. And something neat that I've found in talking to some of these people that that we've interviewed, the speakers and presenters here, they've said, they've heard of Turfs Up Radio. So
that's good. That's
awesome. We're making some progress along that line. And and some of that, I'm sure, has got to do with just, more and more people downloading podcasts, and Beth Berry, too, helping.
Definitely. It's always
get the name out.
Because, you tell one person about it, and then hopefully they kind of become an advocate if they find value in it and they share it. And that's how things like this grow. So
and I'm looking really forward to getting a couple of these guys on my live show too. They've already said they'd be happy to do it. And, looking forward to that as well. So
a lot of good information that can be disseminated in an hour versus, a 5 to 15 minute, interview, which is great as well, but can go more in depth and ask more questions, get more listener interaction and stuff like that. So
Katie's going to try to find us a female owner operator / contender here. A few. It's really weird. Normally that was interesting. Oh, that's that guy's equipment over there at that table over there. So, but we're going to catch a couple of these lawn guys cruising by here. I will say this: we haven't had an opportunity to talk to many of them because they've been seated.
Yeah,
they've been paying attention.
It's
They're very attentive to what's happening and going on. So,
which is a great sign for the industry.
Absolutely.
Of course, you can come sign up and be here and play on your phone all day and get the credits, right? Like, it's up to you to do it to a certain degree, to take that step of I'm actually going to learn something. I'm actually going to take responsibility, I guess is what I'm trying to say, for the success of either my business or the role at my job or whatever, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
And actually come here with an open mind, with open ears, with, the attention span to take all this great information in.
Yeah. We got a gentleman next to us here that's got pads and pens out on the table. So we'll see how quickly that goes. We're going to try to talk to him too. He got here about an hour ago, and he was at a different event. So,
gotcha.
He's probably a presenter later, probably this afternoon.
Probably so.
This is we're kind of like in the holding area. Yay! Thanks. Good deal, Katie. Katie's got us. We're going to talk to him actually after he does his presentation. So
I think when you come to an event like this as an attendee, you realize how much information, educational opportunity there is out there. Turf's Up Radio is great, but being in person can be even a more elevated experience. So, figure out where those things are in your local community, when they are, and attend those things. Reach out to your chemical distributor, your equipment distributor, or dealer, whatever, and because I know most of these guys that I've talked to today, the presenters are headed toward Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area for tomorrow. Yeah. With Advanced Turf Solutions event that they're having up there. So, very much feels very tourish, So, maybe like a rock star. Yeah. Yeah. Going to become a groupie of the Advanced Turf Solution educational tour. There you go. Well. Get you some CEUs. Yeah. I wonder if you went here. I'd have to ask Mary Jo if I think about it when we talk to her. Mary Jo, she's heading this up for Advanced Turf here, her and her team. We'll ask her, what if we come here and then you also go to Cincinnati? I wonder if you get credits for both days. I would think you would, I would guess, right? What do you think, Katie? Think of here. Grab a headset for a second. We need your professional opinion here. I'm thinking she's recruiting somebody for us to talk to, but would you get? I think you would. They're two separate events. It's two separate events. Set in on those separate classes, separate courses, whatever call them. So I think you would. You certainly should get that credit. Yeah, absolutely. So potentially could be. So load up. See. Load up. You need those run up rotation now of ours in and out. So could be fun. Could be fun. So Katie's smiling. Oh, well, that's okay. Oh, yeah. She's with our local Metro Parks Department. So, hey, huh? Yeah, well, hey. So, anyways, well, we can actually do that maybe. Yeah. Jeopardy be fun. We'll catch her. Yeah. We'll ask her if she wants to hop on with us and listen to it. I'll let you talk to Jeopardy if you want to. Yeah, female to female power. Yeah, for sure. So, do good. Not that we're specifically, trying to pick out single women operators, or not single women, but that came out the wrong way. Owner operators that are women. Yeah, y'all know what I meant. It just came out the wrong way. But, I don't know what they're having to eat, but it smells good. Yeah. And the line's increasing. People are pretty excited about it, looks like. Yeah. I tell you what, people are. Donuts and bagels and coffee and orange juice and all that's wearing off. Well, looks like I got about a couple hundred plates at least up there. So we'll see. They got a great turnout for this, but they always do. I mean, twofold on it. There's the world famous Trey. Trey is back. He's back to coming to the food line for us. Yeah, Trey was nice enough to talk to us this morning for a little while, and it was pretty cool. It's always fun to get lawn guys on with us. So, definitely. Oh my goodness, Katie, all these lawn guys. Just tell me to spend 5 minutes with us. They do it. Heck yeah, we're looking for it. So. We're looking for, hey, while you guys are in line, we're looking to put somebody on radio live, talk to you about give you a great chance to shout out your business all the way across the country.
all the way across North America. There's Bernie. Time to eat, Mr. Hood.
Chow hounds.
Yeah, chow hounds. That's that military coming out again, isn't it? Can't help himself, he said. Oh, that was Mr. Hood that we talked to. He's 79 years old, and
Still going out there and
still
doing
going out and doing lawns every day. Every day. It's crazy, isn't it?
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. I mean,
So-
that's, of course, by choice, and that's something that he enjoys doing. It's something that
Absolutely.
that-
Absolutely.
I think the cool part about that from the pump station perspective, health and fitness, is that you take care of your body and then you treat it well, and then you're able to do that until you're 80 or when you want to, because you treated it right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean,
as much as it can be a very physically demanding industry, if you're treating it right along the way, then you can keep doing it for as long as you want.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And he is certainly a sign of that.
Yep. And if you get your protein in, looks like we got some good protein sources today. Some nice carbs, all the macronutrients.
Oh.
Fuel the brain, fuel the body.
We're talking about micronutrients for yards. Now we got micronutrients
Absolutely.
app going into the bods to
Oh,
keep everybody going.
Yeah.
So
Very, very much.
here
big
comes a lawn
crossover.
guy. Yeah, and here comes a lawn lady coming down. So here we're gonna do that. We're gonna get Jeopardy is in the
En route.
minority, being the females here today. Her and Katie. I think we've seen 4. You guys familiar with Turf's Up Radio at all? It's the only radio station dedicated to the green industry. We're not podcasters. We're actually a live radio station. Scan it, listen to us. It's live 24/7 radio. Check it out, man. Check it out. Here, take one of our cards if you don't want to do it now. You can scan it. We'd love to have you as a listener. Like I said, we're worldwide. We've been in, we're almost 5 years old this November. And Profits Unlimited is separate from Turf's Up Radio. Okay, that's something else that we do, but we're actually a show host of Turf's Up Radio, and since this was local, we told them we'd cover this event. So, it's crazy. We got a lot of listeners, and last year, when I say we, Turf's Up Radio, we had like 1.7 million downloads of the different. We got a lot of different show hosts on so different topics, but it is the only live radio station dedicated to the green industry. So check it out. Check it out. It's a great opportunity. Great opportunity to hear some neat things, So it's kind of nice that they recognize us sitting here. We knew if we'd get by the food line, it'd be a great place to be, right?
Always.
Everybody likes to eat,
Yep.
So we're filling our brains with knowledge and our bellies with some good food. So that's the goal today. And I'm looking forward to meeting Mr. Hood's son. He said he was going to bring him back here for us.
Oh yeah.
So isn't it crazy to think he got his son retired military too? Didn't he
really?
say? I think that's what he said.
I don't know.
No, that was somebody else I talked to.
Okay.
Yeah, that was somebody. That was Matt. Said his son was getting ready to get out, retire from the military. I was going to say get
Gotcha.
out, but Corey Daniel, he's being a funny one today. He said, Wayne, you might want to get a good spot on the couch if you keep looking for single ladies. Corey, I did say that. I didn't mean it that way, though. But, oh, my God, we do appreciate you listening. Smoking Joe's listening to us. Absolutely.
Nice.
Good deal,
Give you
Smoking Joe.
some, what's it called? Like the participation CEU for listening in to a CEU.
Hey, maybe you know what?
class.
That might not be a bad thing. Really could. So, get maybe a half a credit instead of a full credit.
That's pretty good. I was going to say maybe like a 10th.
A 10th. I hear you. So it's cool. We got guys listening to us for sure. And wish Smoking Joe could have been here, but I don't know. He's probably trying to catch up a little bit on some work.
Yeah.
He's out in central Kentucky.
Yeah,
But,
everybody's trying to get their, I guess, a lot of stuff done before the short week next week. And
I know.
it's going to be.
And then, we didn't have any rain forever. Now, right up to Thanksgiving, all of us lawn guys are out there trying to figure out how the hell we're going to get leaves done and fertilizer down and all the things we're trying to get done,
Yeah.
Rain, snow. I'm not going to complain about snow, though. I'm looking forward.
Yeah. Well, I think it seems like it's always the same stuff every year.
It is, isn't it?
And so I think knowing that you go into it with this expectation
Here we go.
that things can be a little hectic, but that doesn't mean it's got to be overly stressful or overly,
Look, he's downloading
such
us right now.
a bad experience.
Yeah.
Just take it as it is. Of course, there might be a little bit of a slight panic or whatever you want to call it, but don't let it destroy your day or destroy your week. Because there's too much of it within this industry. It's not it's very much a weather dictated industry. It's a how much daylight do we have dictated industry. So if you're going to let that mess up your week every single year or every single day, it's not worth doing it.
Yeah,
it's not worth doing it.
Yeah,
there's plenty of other things you can be doing with your life that if it's really going to mess you up that bad, that it sounds bad to say, but find something that's not going to tear you up like that.
Right. Yeah.
Because your life is your mental status is worth quite a bit more than just all that.
Well, somebody come see us. We got some Turfs Up radio magnets and a couple stickers, and we had to get in the archives to find this stuff. But by golly, we found it. We needed, we had to find a few handouts for everybody, So, just Smoking Joe says he's trimming some hedges today. Sent us a few pictures.
There you go.
He's out there hammering it. Out
done
all day, every day.
Yeah.
So, a lot of Metro Louisville people here too. So,
yeah. Very interesting.
Everybody's getting those CEUs. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's hard to tell 100%, but it looks like we got a lot of landscape guys here. We got some fert and weed guys here.
Hopefully some crossover.
Some
crossover
absolutely.
in there.
And everybody's getting along. That's a nice part about it,
Yeah. It's
everybody's getting along. Why can't we all get along? Everybody's getting along good.
Yeah, it's kind of a physical representation of
There's
Turfs
Jake.
Up Radio.
Jake's going to talk to us here in a minute. He just had a great presentation. You still good? All right. You want to hop on? Or go and eat your lunch first. All right. Then, we're looking forward to having Jake with New Farm on us, New Farm on with us. He just had an outstanding presentation, and looking forward to getting him on here for sure. So, Daniel, thinking back to your college days, did you, when you're preparing for a test, because some of these guys are doing that, I guess, as well, that are going to be testing.
Yeah.
That's part of the whole process, too, to go out and get their initial, their licensing, regardless of the category.
Yep.
That they get in. But how nervous did you get for tests? Were you nervous when you did
Not
things
really.
like that?
I didn't really get too nervous for tests.
I always did.
I just always thought, if I'm nervous, then I kind of took it as like, okay, if I'm nervous on this test, that means I need to do something for next test. So I kind of took it as like a learning experience.
Yeah.
So going into a certain class, I'd be like, how do I need to study for this? So maybe the first test I'd be a little bit nervous because you don't know how the teacher's going to write the test. You don't know if it's going to be trick questions. You don't know what it's going to be like. But then after you kind of learn a little bit about how that's going to be, you adjust, you adapt. And whether that's taking it for the first time or maybe you're retaking it or you're just trying to, figure out how you learn best in general, for something like a CEU class, that's something where you have to take that experience as a learning experience and think, okay, well, maybe I studied wrong or maybe I didn't. I should have taken notes during that CEU thing because I didn't remember everything I said I thought I would or whatever it is. Just
right.
be adaptable. And I think when you learn you a little bit, then you can take some of that stress away.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know. I always felt like I underprepared, but I probably didn't because I normally did okay. But I don't know. Some people just are good test takers, they say. And I guess I wasn't a bad test taker or whatever the hell you call it, but I don't know. I always probably worried too much about it. And I don't know. I still probably over.
I think you're just a worrier. Part of your personality is more of a worrier, though, too.
Warrior or worrier?
And I think it has to do with being I don't know if this is the right, type, but, the type A personality, more in control, more like controlling the variables and all that stuff, where I'm more just laid back, relaxed. If it doesn't work out, then I'll figure out a way to, whatever. Not this, not that one's better than the other or whatever. It's just our personalities are a little bit different. So, yeah, I could see where, something that like that would maybe cause you a little more stress.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like you said, you didn't do bad. You learned what you had to learn and got through what you had to get through, and so did I. So we both came out on the other side.
We're both on the other side.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I was watching Family Feud, and this is way off topic, but it's about testing last night. And some of you guys listened to us may have seen it last night, but this family, the kids that were on there, they made a bet before they all went through college that whoever had the worst GPA at graduation had to get it tattooed on their butt.
Oh, my God.
Had to get their GPA tattooed.
That's pretty
good
motivation.
Anyway, they asked Steve Harvey if they wanted to see it, and he said, no, we're good.
We should have asked Steve Harvey, who do you think had the lowest?
Who was the winner of the lowest loser? Yeah. Oh, but anyways, they got a really, really good day going on here, and not necessarily any GPA stuff going on, but what really is going on is a lot of education, a lot of training, a lot of support by Advanced Turf Solutions.
Yep.
Because something like this is not inexpensive to put on. I mean, a lot of, you don't think about it as a contractor sometimes. Oh, well, good, we get a free lunch.
Yeah.
But it's way past free lunch,
Oh, yeah.
And then, some people say, well, I bought all my chemicals from them, or I buy chemicals from them. And, and look at Jeopardy and Katie getting some service up there. I know. Cutting in line. No. But, these things are not inexpensive to put on. And some companies do it, some don't. And I know Advanced Turf Solutions, they do this every year. And it's an opportunity for them to, it creates a loyalty between the consumer, the buyer, however you want to look at it, the contractors. Loyalty is a two-way street. We're going to buy chemicals from somebody, but also when you partnership together and you realize that there needs to be a partnership for everybody involved, then I think that's when things work out for the best.
Yeah.
A little give back.
Yeah, plus, like you always say,
what it amounts to.
Your seminars, you're educating your buyer, right? So they're going to be in business longer. They're going to understand the need to diversify and try different chemicals out, and maybe a little bit more, of your pricier chemicals, So it's
this is their give back. He just told it. He said that this is their give back. Mm-hmm. So, absolutely.
Yeah, everybody. When you attend something like this, when you put it on, everybody is winning at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people have to, and from the contractor side of things, first of all, have to realize is that. Yeah, you can be that guy that's just out there figuring everything out on your own and doing it the hard way and not relying on anybody. But why would you want to do that?
Yeah, why worry about reinventing the wheel?
Yeah, you have to let your ego get out of the way and accept the education and information and resources that are out there, and you're only going to grow as a person and as a business.
Right. And what happens? The industry gets better all the way around.
Yep.
So. Look, got a little quiet in here.
Everybody's chowing down. Finally got through the line. Getting their energies refueled for the post-lunch couple of presentations to come.
Yeah. So
fill the brain back up with some more. They're depositing that in their memory bank now.
Go grab you a little something
Take
if
a
you want to, buddy. I can handle this for a few minutes.
We'll see.
Looks like the line is coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quick way to serve a bunch of people. I'll
Yeah.
say that. Very organized, like everything they do here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back to what you're talking about it not being cheap or whatever. I mean, all the stuff right here. I mean, you got your food, you got your tables, you got your chairs, you got your nice equipment over there to, like you said, serve people fast. It's really cool. But for those out there who maybe don't want to do something like this or don't want to do a lot of them, don't forget too that the virtual stuff can still be very valuable. If you want to hold a virtual CEU class or a webinar series or whatever it may be, you can even do that along with this or as what you do instead of this or whatever.
Yeah.
To help educate your customers if you either don't have the money or resources to do something like this, or you just maybe want to do it at a different time of year, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunities now with technology to get in touch with your customers and interact in a lot of different ways.
What's crazy is this is going to sound what I'm going to say, but is we learned a lot of things too during COVID.
Yeah.
As far as working from home, whatever that looks like, but most importantly, I think the virtual education.
Yeah.
Because I know last year we got a lot of hours for applicators, through virtual training, if you will.
Yeah.
And, because this is one thing. I'm glad to see these kind of events coming back.
Yeah. I think it's good even just to get people together.
Yeah.
Different, competitors and talk about how they're doing things, different ideas, build some camaraderie, all those things that are possible with in person.
So Corey is having a good day. Smoking Joe's having a good day. Doug, I'm sure, is having a good day up there.
Yeah.
Corey said either the food is good or everybody's choking at the same time. It's silent. The background noise is gone.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's about it. It did get really quiet in here for real. So it's like da na 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 na. Corey's out doing leaves. It looks like, yeah. Got his vac truck out. Look at that vacuum stuck in not stuck, but leaves piled up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Nothing like the vacuum and leaves part of the world, right? It's that time of the year.
Yep.
Another couple weeks of it, and we'll be crying because it's finished.
Yep.
So, never finished, really.
As soon as the leaves get done falling, though, I think the snows are going to start.
Just slow down. All right. Well, of course. Heck yeah. Oh, my goodness. So, Katie's going to go have lunch with Jeopardy. That's nice.
There you go, that camaraderie.
Camaraderie. There it is. Ta-da. Now, me or you to just head down alone.
Yeah.
Well,
the difference is I would have preferred it. You still would have been lonely. But you just would have.
Oh, shoot. That's funny. So, the line has wrapped up, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the afternoon, though.
Yeah.
We got Chuck McKenna coming on with Nature Safe, and he's going to talk about the benefits of plant health and beneficial microbes in the soil.
Yeah, I found that a very interesting topic to kind of learn about how all those things interact, the microbes and all the bacteria that's in soil and how it's helpful to life.
Yeah,
and just all that kind of cool stuff to me. It's really interesting, like just the soil aspect of this.
Yeah. Well, Mary Jo's finally going to come through and have dinner. She waited till last, just like the captain going down with the ship. Oh, shoot. So, but yeah, microactivity and I don't want to get into all that right now necessarily, but you look at microbial activity and plant health and all that. A lot of times we as an industry, not all of us, not me, not you, not whoever's listening to us, but sometimes we forget about the science to growing grass
Yeah.
and having healthy lawns.
Yeah.
That it's not always just throwing fertilizer,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's something that these guys have hit on today very well too. And I think we all, we all want the solution to be fertilizer. Customers will, I want my grass greener. Well, man, we can get your grass green easy.
Yeah. Go paint it.
We actually did that a couple times. We did that back. This goes back a few years before, doing odd, weird things like that was popular. We had a NTS, not ATS, not Advanced Turf Solutions, but NTS. They were having a corporate derby party, and it was a year when things warmed up slowly, and so their grass was still dormant, and they had us come out and paint their grass, if you will.
That's crazy.
For their derby party. So it's only one time we ever did it, but we did it.
That's definitely a type A personality.
Is it?
Oh yeah. They want to control everything, even the color of the grass.
The color of the grass.
At their party.
But, getting back to the science behind, soils and grass growing well and that whole thing, that there's just so much more to it than just fertilize it, where too many companies just try to think, well, we'll just fertilize it. We'll fertilize it.
I don't know if it's the current microbial solutions. Maybe it is. I'm not in depth enough on that. But I think there's going to come a time in the very near future when we as people, but then as because of the people understanding a little bit more, the industry then responds to that, and I think that's going to become a much bigger part of the industry. I think it's really going to, in my opinion, somewhat take over. I think because you do start to see, you've already seen in the last, 20, 30 years, the greener movements and all these different things. I really think that that's going to be one of these side of movements of the health aspect and not just the aesthetic aspect.
Right.
Because the health does lead to the aesthetic, and sometimes, like you said, people don't want the true, here's the true fix. They just want the short term, cure, if you will.
Right. Well, and I think as more and more communities and cities and even states, start regulating more of what can be applied.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Greg, our friend up there, in Ontario.
Yeah.
With the restrictions that they have up there in Ontario, Canada, and we've got restrictions, in certain areas here in the United States as well as, what can or cannot be applied anymore, or certain products in fertilizer that can't be applied because of, groundwater issues. And I think as we gain more and more knowledge, then we're going to have to go to more best management practices for healthy turf.
Yeah.
Where it does include more of, hey, let's amend the soil.
Yeah.
Let's really fix the issue.
Right.
And not just, we're so used to I call it the pizza mentality.
Yeah. Well, in health and fitness, it's the prescription mentality. It's the same thing. It's the how can I solve my problem in one step or one easy route. It's the quick fix.
Yeah. Go get a pill for something.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our pill for color in this industry is fertilizer and iron. For somebody who wants a color issue, hey, well, okay, yeah, we can get a green. But then, you think about, well, okay, how much fertilizer you really want to put on that lawn? Regardless, cool season or warm season turf, are we really doing the right thing for the lawn by not managing it properly?
Right.
And the answer to that's no. You don't have to think about that.
Right. Yeah. And I think really when you start to look at it like that, you ask yourself, how do we coexist with our healthy lawns? Like, you can't just forget about the world, the earth, the health of that, the health of our environment, the health of our, the soil and all the things that are around us, just because we want something that looks a certain way. Like, we need to coexist. We can have both. It's just a matter of figuring out how to do that. And I think that's I think that's where we're heading, in that direction.
Corey brings up a good point, though, too. He said, that will definitely have to be government or city mandated. He said he invested in a compost tea to stop fertilizing as much, and it went nowhere since it was more expensive. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's trying to hit that, and that's a great point, Corey.
And I think that's one of those things that stops people from doing anything initially, is the cost of it.
Right.
But as things do become more regulated, and you can't get the cheaper things that the more common solutions now that are a little bit cheaper, they're only cheaper because they're more heavily manufactured, right? It's the same thing. It's like,
right.
If you make one of these items, it costs $20,000 to make, but if you can make 100 an hour, we can sell them to you for $200. Whatever that
right.
may be. And the same is true with a lot of these. What is seen now as more green or more earth-friendly whatever products. If we mass produce them at the same level, then they will still they can be at a competitive price.
Yeah, to getting that cost down, it's like battery-powered equipment.
Yeah.
Right now it's at a price point that seems it doesn't seem more expensive. It is, on the surface, more expensive.
Right.
But when you look at the benefits of the battery-powered equipment and the lack of maintenance cost and fuel cost and those things, that gap closes. And I think if we as business owners look at, some of these products like these guys are talking today, not just throwing, nitrogen at a lawn, what can we throw at the underlying issue for soil amendments and, things like that, like the foliar pack that gentleman was talking about with us. I think, that was John Greeneisen was talking to us about, the foliar pack stuff. And, I think that's really where our industry is going to go. And I do think that currently what that means is we pick a little bit different lane, if that's how we want to go at it, of customer, because it is somebody that's going to your point, Daniel, with the price point still being different for some of these products, and I'm not calling these guys out or presenting today at all, just in general, me as a lawn care operator, sometimes we do focus too much on cost and not enough on result and or what is the best thing for the environment, long term. And I don't know, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and worried more about the environment, or if I'm just realizing that, hey, we need to be smarter with the environment. And I'm certainly not a tree hugger. Anybody that knows me knows that. And I'm not making light of tree huggers that are listening to us. I mean, we need somebody to hold the damn trees up. But
well, I think being in the green
industry, we got to be a steward of the environment.
I think even just saying, like, having that as a negative while you're also in the green industry is kind of a contradiction.
Yeah.
Because the green industry is our livelihood.
Yes.
If there's no green, you have no money.
Yeah.
So it's silly to even have like this negative connotation around tree huggers.
Right.
As a green industry professional, we should all be tree huggers for one, as human beings. But especially when that's your livelihood, when you're choosing to make money, we should all care about not just making that money, but how we can sustainably make that money.
Yes. And I think that's something that consumers are becoming more aware of and wanting different solutions to problems. And we've talked a little bit about it, and at work, about what we can do different and better to sell to Craig's point. Speaking of Craig, we hadn't heard from Craig for a while. His good, better, best kind of concept that, offer something to that mindset. Don't just have the okay, well, hey, we're just going to be competitive and we want all the lawns we can get at a lesser price, and, you know, not worrying about what's going on within the environment to make that happen. Let's look at what we can do to pick a new lane, maybe. And I don't know. I've become a little more open-minded, if you will, to picking a lane, not changing everything, but, you know, picking a lane that says, hey, we can do. And Darren Gruner's helped me with this a little bit. You know, with his program, it wasn't applications he sold. He sold quality lawns, is what it amounts to. If it took 3 applications or 9 applications, he did what it took to get the lawn. That was his business model. And that way, because I do think that a lot of times as an industry, and I understand why, but we do get hung up into, you know, rounds. You know, how many rounds are you selling, or applications, or whatever you call it. But more importantly is, hey, what are we doing to solve a customer's problem? Right. And because that's really what selling's all about.
Yeah,
It's a solution to a problem that somebody's having.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think most customers that are value driven, that want the results, are definitely more likely to go and be okay with that. You know, and that's where you have to know your niche. If you're selling only based on price, then you're probably not going to get that customer, because it's easy to say, hey, we have this many applications at this price, and then they can look at it physically and say, oh, okay, that makes sense to me. I can then go and compare that probably not exactly, but I can compare those two things to somebody else's those two things. So I think it goes back to like finding your niche. If you're selling value instead of just selling cost, then that's when you can start to be a little bit different than just the average Joe.
Yeah. Oh, Steve Milby getting around. That's a hard way to get around. Not to change the subject, but seeing him on his little, what do they call those things? Trikes?
I don't know if they're just called scooters or what.
Scooters or trikes or what? He's the guy we spoke to earlier today with the broke foot.
Yeah, we had a professor with one of those for part of the year that I was with him, and it was.
Is it just easier than crutches? Is that what people?
I mean, it's easier, or if it's just because of the specific injury. If you're not supposed to put any pressure.
All right, everyone, we're ready.
I'm not
to get
sure.
Rolling again, so if we can try to quiet it down.
But it sounds like they're going to get going.
They're rocking back down the road. So hey, we're going to talk with. Speaking of Jake, there he is, right there. We're gonna. Think we'd be all right to go live right here with Jake.
Probably shouldn't.
Okay. All right. We'll go right back. Yeah, I'm going to hop off here. Daniel, if you'll sign us off, and then I'll get back. I'll get Jake on.
Sounds good. Well, that is it for us here right now, but stay tuned because we're going to be coming to you. The Prophet is here in just a few minutes with another live interview at the ATS CEU event. So we'll talk soon.